The world is falling apart. Everything that we know, that we knew and love, is collapsing, and the left is excited because Jimmy Kimmel is back. Disney says, quote, Jimmy Kimmel Live will return to the air Tuesday after a week-long suspension. Oh, was that all it was? Seemed like a year. This is the result of his vile monologue about the assassination of our newly, I'm going to say, beatified saint. This is what this is about. This is what this clown was about. This is it. Disney says that Jimmy Kimmel will return to the air after this much too long, week-long suspension. The result of a disgusting monologue about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Disney's statement was carefully worded. They said they halted production to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. They called his comments ill-timed and insensitive. But let's be honest, my friends. Does it matter? None of it matters. Disney can parade this as a concession. Kimmel can shuffle back onto the stage and claim some kind of victory. ABC affiliates can act like the crisis is over. But this was never about comedy. This was about control. Kimmel has been told to shut his mouth, play nice, and stop poking at wounds that run too deep, that hurt us too much. His fans will scream sellout. His critics will see weakness. Trump doesn't waste a second of thought on him. Nobody wins. Nobody cares. Because whatever he does, remember, they're telling him, don't go out and think you're going to double down on this. You're not. His how do I say this? His fans want him to go hard. But it's not going to happen. He learned his lesson. It doesn't matter. Because look, here's the bottom line. Here's the truth. The late night model is dead. I just posted something on X about Broadway. Broadway's dead. It's finished. The model is over. Who watches late night anymore? Ratings have collapsed. Streaming dominates. Podcasts, independent shows, social media drive the cultural conversation. Where did they hear about Charlie Kirk? TikTok. TikTok is bigger than anything you can imagine. The canned applause, the smug monologues, the sanctimony, it's all background noise. Kimmel's return isn't a cultural event. It's a corporate box-checking exercise to keep an irrelevant show kind of limping along. Nobody cares. The left wants to scream fascism. Fine. The right shrugs. The rest of America has already moved on. Nobody cares about this. This doesn't matter. Meanwhile, the entire world watched the ceremony for Charlie Kirk. And yet, here's the hypocrisy no one wants to talk about. Everyone acts shocked that Disney executives were pressured by affiliates, by the FCC, and yes, by Trump's allies who were furious, and rightly so, about Kimmel's comments. They call it mafia-like. They call it strong-arm politics. But when Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries leaned on Rupert Murdoch to fire Tucker Carlson, where were the tears then? Where were the claims of fascism then? Where was the media outrage then? Nobody cared. Nobody said anything about it. Come on, it's a joke. It's a joke. Nobody cared. Nobody cares now. Nobody called it fascism. Nobody said it was an attack on free speech. The establishment cheered. They wanted Tucker gone. And when the knives came out, they applauded. That was real intimidation. That was mafia politics. And yet, because it served the left's interest, it was treated as business as usual. I want you to stop right now, my friends. I want you to think about something which is critical. If you've been watching your daily dose of Alex Jones and others, you're hearing a lot of people talking about something which they're very frightened about. Something that is happening, something which is going on. I just talked to Dane Wigington this morning from geoengineeringwatch.org on my ABC show, on the overnight show, on the radio, And it was, let me tell you something, my friends. It was something. It was something. And what he talked about was the possibility of there being such catastrophic changes to crops and the like, you can't imagine what you saw. And my friends, when I talk to people about what to expect, about what's coming up, what could be happening in the real world, stuff like civil war and strikes and supply chain collapses and, domestic terrorism and BLM and Antifa, lockdowns and freakouts and blackouts and EMPs, riots. Shall I go on? It's not this futuristic, crazy dystopia nightmare. It's today's reality and what people are afraid of. The systems we trusted are crumbling by design on time. 1 week without food, and you'll learn fast. You'll learn because cash, cards, Bitcoin, even gold, diamonds, none of it matters. None of it's going to feed your family. Survival isn't theory. It's primal. It's primordial. It's instinctual. It's atavistic. It's natural. Food, water, energy, ammo. That's it. That's it. And that's why my Patriot Supplies 3-month food kit matters. Listen up. Over 2,000 calories a day for 30 days, 22 meal varieties with a shelf life of up to 25 years. And right now you get 4 weeks free, a $247 bonus. The world has changed. Hunger is the oldest weapon of control known. Don't wait for disaster to prove it. Preparation isn't paranoia. You know this. It's survival. So click the link in the description, preparewithlionel.com. Secure your food, protect your family, and secure your future. Now, while there's time, preparewithlionel.com. Now, Jimmy Kimmel today, we knew he was going to come back one way or the other because there was also some talk about, there were some worries about, what am I trying to say? There were worries about ABC with the NFL contracts and that kind of stuff. Okay, fine. Does it matter? It doesn't matter. The thing about it was that this model is over. Late night, it's too much. It costs too much, and there's so little. It's so little that it counts for. Look, let me tell you something. Disney can parade this as a concession. Kimmel can come out and say, "Hey, look at me. I'm back on stage." And the ABC affiliates are trying to act like this crisis is over. There's no crisis. But this was never about comedy. This was about control. And he's been told, let me tell you again, to shut his mouth. Plain nice. Quit saying this. Get back to comedy. Talk about something else. Wear blackface. Do that other comedy thing, whatever which made you happy. Trump doesn't waste a second of thought on him. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And I'm telling you again, the late night model, this thing that we grew up with, is dead. It's finished. It's gone. Do any of you watch this? Does anybody here actually watch this? Do you watch this for a moment? Does anybody even, with all that is going on and all the great shows that are free or that are on YouTube, who watches late night anymore? Ratings have collapsed. Streaming is it. Streaming dominates. You watch podcasts, independent shows, social media. You've got more apps, more selection, all to drive the cultural and opinion conversation. And the canned applause, the smug monologues, the sanctimony, it's all background noise. Kimmel's return isn't a cultural event. It's nothing. It's a concession, and it's already over with. And nobody cares. The left screams fascism. They love fascism. That's the part which is the most important part. They love fascism. They love this word. Do you care? No. Now let me explain to you also. Did you hear this one today? I want to talk to you about this. Did you hear the big news about autism? Did you hear the big news about autism? Oh, President Trump said, we're gonna wait till you hear this news about autism. I thought, oh my God, this is great. Remember that? Remember that thing about autism? Who heard that? Tylenol? Tylenol? That's it? Huh? Tylenol? You're kidding. You're kidding me. That's the big surprise. Wow, Tylenol. Whoa. What about the vaccines in it? See Dr. Ross standing around there. What is he doing? You've got to be kidding me. Now, let me explain to you. There's a whole lot of good news. I guess Tylenol has got enough problems with liver failure and all kinds of problems. But this is it? Does this make any sense to you? And now, listen, it was a wonderful, wonderful moment that we saw. It was a little too long, but 7 hours. The point was that was an event which was the most incredible. Here in New York, we have UNGA, United Nations General Assembly, and it is going to be an absolute horror show on the east side regarding traffic. Because all the people are coming in from all over the world so they can shop and buy and bring their hookers and buy hookers. And, this is the week for human trafficking. Like you can't believe it. It's the biggest joke in the world. It's the biggest joke in the world. And that's what's happening with that right now. That's huge, as we say in the kitchen. Huge. Huge. Let me tell you something. We sit back and we say, oh, look at this. Sparky's there. The dystopian future is now, indeed. Sparky, I was thinking about you. Did you see how they're coming out now and they're suggesting that Tucker is anti-Semitic with hummus? And I don't even know what that is, but because he dared to say that Charlie was, they kind of intimated the New York Post was in full. I mean, they just didn't know what to do. They were in full swing when they said something to the effect of, how do I say this? They came out in full force to say that Tucker had. How dare people suggest they're saying these crazy things like where are you getting all this Gaza stuff from? I mean, it's unbelievable. And this is the right. This is your side, not you, Sparky, but it's you. How long are they going to keep doing this? How long are people going to? Do you believe this story about how this bullet lodged in the man of steel? His bones were so strong that they prevented the exit wound. This was the exit wound. Why do people say this? Why do people say this? Why? I don't understand it. But we understand it. We know. We look at this and we laugh. We're saying, where have you been? We know exactly what's happening. We tune into a different channel, a different everything, the world is so different. And the problem is sometimes that what I find, I don't want to say it's a problem, but I ask people around what I look at, and I think to myself, I hate to bring this to your attention, but there's this other world that I don't think people are aware of. I don't think they know. I really don't think people know. I don't think most people could really tell you. Maybe you disagree. I don't know. But I don't think most people could tell you really what's happening in the Middle East. And most people could not tell you anything about Hamas or Gaza or Hezbollah or the Houthis or none of that. And that's why we're so great. Because we're so monumentally clueless. We are clueless to the point where it's almost, it's not only dangerous, but it's also embarrassing. Trump and RFK announced the cause of autism and most important, Tylenol? Tylenol? Are you kidding me? It's one of the things which is just absolutely ridiculous. Now, a couple of things are going to be happening right now, and we're going to be dealing with this later. In fact, this evening, what I do is I like to do a show, kind of like the last show of the day, right before I leave and go on my way to the radio show. I'll do one today about 11:30. It's like the last show of the day for those of us folks on the West Coast and those our European friends. It works out perfectly. But the point is, I ask myself the question: do you really see what's going on in the world here? Do you think that they, honest to God, understand or grasp? Do you really understand this? Do you see the number of people who are getting tattoos celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder? I don't get upset over this. Do you have friends of yours, or maybe soon to be ex-friends, people that used to be friends, people who were laughing about the Charlie Kirk thing? Have you seen that one? Are they laughing about it? Do you think people are laughing about it? Do you see that? We had a friend of ours recently. We looked and we saw this. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And Mrs. L was, pretty upset about it. I said, look what she wrote. I said, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Seriously, what? Nothing gets me upset. Nothing. I don't expect anything from anybody. I think there are people who get into this idea that they think that Charlie Kirk is this bad guy, and that he lived in a world where he was some kind of a fascist or some. I don't know. I don't even know what you call it. And I think these people really believe this stuff. I think they really believe it, and I think they love to be mean. There's mean humor. Sometimes there's stuff like, maybe you've seen this before, but have you ever seen folks who were like it's like bad, dark, evil jokes about 9/11 or terrible jokes, where sometimes it's like, we kind of say to her, you don't want to admit it, like maybe there was oh God, I'm not going to go through, but but after the Challenger, when the Challenger horror was happening, there were these jokes that came out saying, and it wasn't funny, but what it was that it was horrible, and people kind of laughing about it. It was a horrible thing because they how do I say this? It was a horrible thing because it made people realize just how horrible it was. And what was funny about it was the fact that we weren't supposed to laugh. Does that make any sense to you? Sparky says 140 to 200 yards is practically point blank for most, if not all, 30-06 rifles. Well, there you go. That may be true. Was it a 30-06 that hit him? Are you sure about that? Do we have any bullet fragments? Do we have any ballistics? Anything yet? A lot of people were talking about hand signals. A lot of people were talking about guns. That I think one of them was a cell phone gun, which looks very inaccurate. Very. And I think the amount of, I don't know. There was a muzzle flash that somebody saw. What kind of stuff going on? How do you know what you know? 30-06 is a tough gun. 50 cal is, that wasn't used either. Nobody's going to be talking about this. It's always, let's move around. Let's move along now. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're saying, let's move along. Look at this. Somebody says, OMG, the theories are insane. What theories are insane? Imagine that. Just curious. What theories do you think are insane? Anybody? Has anybody here heard any insane theories? Anyone? Anybody have any insane theories? Anything? Anything? There was a camera directly behind him. Listen, you can say whatever you want, but it's going to be going away. There's no investigation coming. And unless there's somebody who wants to do an Oliver Stone, nobody's going to be talking about this. You understand this? I haven't heard any insane theories. I don't know anything about that. I do think the facts of the case are the most fascinating. But remember something. Nothing is going to be done from this. So you and I can talk about it all we want. Whether it's some cameras, a weapon, or this. We don't know what happens. Nobody's going to talk about this. This will go away. Someone says we need the autopsy. You're not going to hear about the autopsy. You're not going to hear anything about it. Nothing. And Charlie's family, they're not going to say anything. Charlie's wife, don't you think these people would say something about, hey, this story about this guy who supposedly killed my wife. By the way, I called it about the fact that she didn't want the death penalty and she forgave him and all this stuff. And I also say a step further, she's going to go meet him. But do you know what's happening here? Do you know what's happening right here? Do you know what's happening? This is very, very important, very, very critical. What's very critical and very important to note is a couple of things here. The important things to grasp is that nobody is going to do anything about this. Okay? Nobody is going to be doing anything to investigate this. So you can talk about it all you want. You could have the 30-06, you could have big bones in front. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. None of it matters. None of it matters. Nothing will come of this. It will be. And Charlie's wife, bless her heart, is going to say nothing. Because I think they're going to probably tell her, listen, this isn't going to help anything. Let's put this behind us. Let's be positive. Let's talk about the future of this, and let's not worry about this. Sparky says, they say it was a 1906 rifle, but there weren't any 30-06 Mauser 98s until after World War II. Since the 30-06 is an American caliber and a Mauser 98 is a German. I defer to you on that, sir. I do not know. I absolutely do not know, and again I defer to your expertise. But let me tell you something: nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. You're not going to hear it. There's going to be no Jim Jordan, no hearing, no nothing. Don Jr. is not going to be weighing in. He's the sportsman, of killing. Move along. Time to move along here. And autism, any big autism stories? Nope. Where's Pam Bondi? I don't know. Where's Alina Habba? Remember her? She was gone. She never came back. Don't know where she went. She just took off. Isn't that interesting? Everybody's going to hang around. Marjorie Taylor Greene had on Dane Wigington. She tried to come out regarding this notion of geoengineering. They're talking about gas. Same thing with Bobby Kennedy. They're not interested in this. You think autism is what? Tylenol? Is that what they're getting at? Look, do you see what's going on here? Do you see what's going on here? Come on. What did you want? What did you expect Trump to do? What did you expect him to do? Seriously. What did you think he was going to do? Expose the Holy Grail? Stop it. Stop it. What are you talking about? You think he was going to get to the bottom of this? No. There's only so much he can do. I don't understand it. But yet, people are screaming. Candace Owens is screaming like mad. She and that Anna Kasparian. Oh my God. Notice how the right and the left, MTG is on the young turds And all these other folks are, it's wild. It's wild. You've got Gavin Newsom, whose first guest was Michael Savage. What is going on here? Does this make any sense? They're lying to you. Come on, you know how this thing goes. Come on, stop it. Look, I hope the president can do a lot, but if you think this is the end of the deep state or the shadow government, it's not going to happen. If you think that's bad, you should see what they're doing regarding child trafficking. Oh, they're furious. They don't know what to do. I'll tell you, they're wondering what's going on here. Where is our partner in this? So listen, I don't know. And if you had any friends of yours who were lying about Charlie Kirk, can you imagine that? If this were somebody you didn't like, if it were Robert De Niro, Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Rob Reiner, Bette Midler, you don't see Bette Midler anymore, but anyway, but if you had some lefty, whatever, would you laugh over their assassination? Seriously? Would you? I know some of our quote would do that. I don't know. I know I wouldn't. A good friend Sparky says, at the very least, whomever is doing the hoaxing knows a lot less than most people about most things. They're not even knowledgeable enough to BS us about things. Law enforcement should know about it. Hoaxing we don't know about. I don't know. Again, I don't know where's the hoax. Sparky, see, listen, you and I can agree on this. Americans don't care about this. Nobody is calling out for this. Nobody is calling out and screaming out that there's some kind of that there's some form of, I don't know, some answer, something, anything. Do you really think that anybody anywhere is going to be suggesting that something happened? Stop it. No. Absolutely, positively not. Nobody's calling for this. That's the part which is really something. Nobody is calling for any of this. The only thing they're calling for, the only thing that's happening, I hate to say it, is just a bunch of people who are just kind of sort of the usual suspects screaming and yelling about the same stuff. That's all. But listen, I don't want you to be upset. I just want you to understand it. Certain things are going to happen. Certain things aren't. Certain things are going to change. And certain things aren't. Nobody is going. So far, name one arrest during the Trump administration. One arrest where you said, got him. Anybody? No. Is there anybody at all that you can say, we got him? No. Anybody? No. Nobody. Sparky says, maybe I have used BSing instead of hoaxing. Yeah. But Sparky, what do you think is going to happen? There aren't even people within the group, military, security, people within Turning Point who are demanding that they get to the bottom of this. If they're not doing it, what are you going to be upset about? If Erica Kirk isn't talking about it, hell, Bobby Kennedy Jr., the whole Kennedys don't even talk about who killed their uncle and fathers. They don't do it. Do you see how this works? Do you understand how this thing works? It's a very, very, very simple thing. Very simple. And it's something that we have to kind of understand and grasp and sort of put to bed. The good news is that this Jimmy Kimmel thing is back and he'll get great ratings for one night. And then they're going to say, okay, Jimmy, let us have it. I can't. He'll be a sellout. It'll be back to business the way back to the basics of love, as it were. That's simple. Very, very, very simple. That's all, my friends. So just remember that. Don't get bent out of shape. Watch what's going to happen. It's going to be like it never, big deal. Colbert's wondering, well, what do I have to do? Nobody cared about him. Well, you got an Emmy. Okay, fine. Because that model's over with. The next is going to be, let's see who takes over. What is Erica Kirk going to do? You're going to see her? I have a terrible thought that much of the momentum of Turning Point is, I mean, there might be more people signing up now, but without Charlie there, ain't going to happen. Cut Up says, I can't believe I keep hearing conflicting stories from people I want to respect. Don't know what that means, but nothing surprises me. Cut Up, thank you. Let me also tell you something. Listen to me very carefully. Listen to me carefully. I mean to tell you this. Don't expect a lot. Nobody wants to say this, but they killed Turning Point USA. It just can't. It will always have the ghost of Charlie. It can't do it. There might be, I don't know if the leadership is there. I don't know if they have the momentum. I think people are going to want to get into it to control it, to get all that money. But where'd that money come from? Was it Israel? Some people say at first listen, between Israel, APAC, US Aid, and others, I don't know. Nobody's asking me. How many of you think Turning Point's going to keep going? Sparky says, it could just be ultra gross incompetence on the part of Kash Patel and the FBI. Part of the crisis incompetence I chatted about the other day. Could be. Could be. How many of you think that Turning Point USA is going to continue? That it's going to be bigger and better with more chapters, and without Charlie, without the debates? Anybody think that? It's over. I hate to say it. It's over. You can't do it. You're going to say, well, a different form, maybe. No, not like that. This man was the lifeblood of this. Whatever it was, whatever he had, they were successful. Now, does that message go? We're not for sure. People are going to be saying, Charlie was killed because at the last minute he turned on Israel. And that's going to be their story. And I don't know if you can necessarily say that. But the point is, do you really believe this is going to happen? I know nobody wants to. I know that was a funeral, in essence, not for Charlie, but for Turning Point. She can't do it. Sal Angelo, ladies and gentlemen, says Turning Point USA will continue on in Charlie's memory, just like Hendrix's music is still played on radio today. Sal, I thank you for your kindness, but I would like to think this, but unfortunately, you've got the music from Jimi Hendrix. You have the recording from Jimi Hendrix. You have all of that. There's nothing you have to do. Just push the button and this is a little different. Because with this comes an organization you have to feed. And you have to feed it with new blood and new life and new organization and new momentum with new issues and new challenges and new everything. New schools, new campuses. And he was the star. He was the star. And there is nobody. Tucker Carlson, he was younger. Remember, sometimes people, I got to tell you something. You know, people say, I think it's going to continue. Oh, it's going to continue. Not like it was before. You think there's going to be a big, I mean, there might be a couple of times when, for example, the next time they have a big event, like one of these big Turning Point events, and they're going to have pictures of Charlie. You can't keep talking about Charlie, though. See, you can't have an organization where you say, this is for Charlie. Okay, fine. And then the next time, here's Charlie. This is for him. Yep. What are we doing now? Well, we're going to keep talking about Charlie. You can't do that. You have to say, well, what's new? What are you doing now? How do you do this now? And this is the part which is the most important. I don't want this to be, but I know human nature. And people are lazy and they get bored, and you have to feed their level of curiosity. They have to change with the notion of a redirection. He was the guy. I think it was the guy. He was the message. He was, you wanted to be like Charlie. What would Charlie do? Not what did Turning Point do? What did Charlie do? Tell us Charlie's story. His wife, his children. Charlie's story. I'm not saying this because I'm glad of this. I'm saying I know human nature, and I know how boring people are and how lazy they are. And unfortunately, I know nobody wants to say this, but that's the way that works. I nominate Brandon Tatum for what? Who do you think right now could possibly be the next Charlie? Who? And I'm not saying who could do it. I mean, who could be the next Charlie? Who could be the next Charlie? Any idea? Any clue? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, now we're just going to be throwing a thing. Okay, now we're getting Sammy Hagar. Okay, fine. That's okay. I'll stop doing this. Look, the bottom line is simply this. Let me see if I can remind you of something. The message that we have right now is something which I can't even put into words because I'm not even sure what the message is. What is the message? Is it conservatism? Is it Christianity? Is it the Bible? Is it God? Is it Jesus? I don't know. I'm not sure what this is. I'm not sure what the message is. I think that Charlie can do this. He said, "This is who I am." He was flat out a bold, unabashed Christian with Christian ideals, a Christian ideology, and Christian thinking. That's who he was. That's precisely what Charlie was. Period. End of discussion. That's what he was. And more importantly, what he did was he showed people that he believes in these things. And he said some things he loved that who is going to be, nobody's going to be doing these talking points or no. Do you think anybody's going to want to do this behind some kind of bulletproof glass? Maybe they would. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't know. Maybe he could. Maybe they would. I'm not really sure. Stephen says, I said to Brandon Tatum. Okay, good. And would you tell me why precisely? I love when somebody says, well, the reason all that this. Well, why in particular? Well, I don't really know. I'm telling you right now, there is no such thing. There is no such person. Because there was something about him that just made sense. Period. End of discussion. It's not going to happen. And I don't know if there's anybody, Benny Johnson. Okay. Listen, I'm sorry to tell you this, and I wish it were true, but anybody who gives me a name isn't thinking this thing through. What was it that Charlie was about? Now, by the way, remember today's, you see how the Kimmel story is so boring? You see what's happening right now? We're back into Charlie. That's the story for us. That's it. Jimmy Kimmel is not even a story. This is all they had. I hope they recognize that what they're doing is they're throwing people like Jasmine Crockett out before us. They're throwing people like AOC and Ilhan Omar. They don't know. This isn't, America doesn't want this because they don't offer anything. Let me explain something to you. It's very, very simple. You have to ask yourself the question, what did the Democrats offer? Sal Angelo says, polarizing figures have one thing in common, their ability to be kind. We're doomed with anyone else in the mainstream, but Turning Point will live on just like Billy Graham. But Sal, I appreciate Turning Point will live on in some form, but not like it was with Charlie. Sparky said Charlie Kirk was uniquely driven for the task. Most people his age or younger wouldn't be interested in politics in the same extent he was. Tough act to follow. It was. But also remember, let me give you an example of something. When Rush Limbaugh died, talk radio kind of sort of died a little bit too. It really did. It was a little directionless. I mean, it's sort of back now, but it's different. And by the way, thank you for your kindness. I appreciate this. This is a little bit different. What you need to understand is that people are funny about this. John Wolfe says Jimi Hendrix created a Stevie Ray Vaughan. Maybe Charlie created his Stevie, who has yet to reveal himself. Some inspired youngster. Maybe. By the way, he did not create Stevie Ray Vaughan. I mean, he did it. I'm not going to argue that point. I hope what you're saying is true. But you don't have faith like I have in the American people. I don't have faith in them. I never did. But I mean that, I don't mean they're bad people. I just mean they're very short-sighted. I think they're very, very, in many respects, very selfish. And they're not, I hate to say it, they're not the brightest people in the world. And they're not people that we can focus on all the time. They're not, I'm sorry to say this. What you need to do is simply this, more importantly. Find out, somebody has to get Erica and say, what is your role going to be in this? What were you before? She was the Nancy Reagan. She was the perfect story. She was the beauty queen, the mother, but Charlie was the star. There was a genuineness about Charlie that I don't know if she has. She sometimes, I'm just telling you, a little, I think very sincere. Her heart is broken, but so polished and so perfect that I don't know if she can, like for example, I would always advise her, lose all jewelry, tone it down, and be as humble as you can be. Number one. Number two, did you notice in her speech, she wasn't so much of, I'm behind him. I live behind Charlie. I'm his shadow. I stand behind Charlie. Charlie, did you notice that? She was behind him. She was the it was a different modality, a different way of thinking. So now that's what she did. Without Charlie, what does she do? I don't know how somebody can come. It's like, I can't think of a word. Like when Stanley Kubrick died. I mean, he was the star, the wife, the family. When Carl Sagan died, this Anne Dreary, whatever her name is, Dreesen or Durian or whatever her name was, couldn't do it because he's Carl Sagan. Tucker Carlson, old. Sorry. Those of us, you have to understand that when you always think of yourself as being young, and you can't think of yourself sometimes as being perceived as older by people when you could very well be their grandfather. So, and this is a shock to some people, like, oh my God, I think, well, that's just the way it is. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's the way it goes. They look at you, they look at him. Tucker might be a little bit whatever. I don't think Tucker, like I don't believe Tucker. I believe Charlie, every single thing. I swear to you, I believed it hook, line, and sinker. If he was a con, if that was a work, he was the best worker I've ever seen in my life. I believed everything he said. I really do. I believe he was a devout Christian who lived by the holy word of God and Jesus, and he meant it. Andrew Hessing says, Lionel, earlier today I saw a video analysis showing the opposite of the narrative. Clear entrance from back, exit from front. Look for it. Clear entrance from back, exit from the front. Yeah, I did as well. That's what I'm saying. I remember we talked about this. There was a Marine. Did you see the Marine? He was a Marine sniper trained. He was a Marine. Very believable. Very good witness. I love to see good witnesses. Some people who really play it well. And he explained if I'm Charlie and I'm looking this way, okay, the shooter, they say, was this way. This next shot was an entrance wound. No. There was another one based upon the various camera shots that were taken. They believed that there was a muzzle flash, a flash that was seen over what would be Charlie's right shoulder, and that the entrance point was here. Exit here. That it wasn't a 30-06. That would have taken his head off. I don't know. I'm telling you right now, I'm not an expert. That's why I have to turn to experts like we do in the courtroom to see what experts have to say. But what I want you to understand is save your time. Save your time. There will not be this cottage industry like there was in the John Kennedy case. John Kennedy, there were so many people who were scholars and movies and conventions and oh my God, they were the one. And remember, what changed everything regarding John Kennedy was Oliver Stone. There won't be an Oliver Stone here. Nobody's going to be doing this. There's not even an Oliver Stone about Robert Kennedy, including his son, including his children. Let me say that again. Maybe you missed what I said. Including his children. Nobody cares. This is the most obvious thing when they found stippling. This was the thing Eugene Caesar. Bobby Kennedy mentioned. I don't know about Bobby Kennedy. I don't know if Bobby Kennedy, did they scare him? Did they own him? He just doesn't seem to be this hellfire. It's like this is a limited hangout. Tylenol? Limited hangout is, again, when you provide a little bit of information in substitution for that which was promised. Do you see what I'm saying? It's information, little information that was provided in lieu of that which was promised. So you think, well, that's it. Hey, Bobby, thanks for finding out what causes autism. Bobby, what about the connection to vaccines? Bobby, we want to know about the connection to vaccines. The old Bobby, the Bobby that we knew and loved, talked about the number of vaccines that children, babies got in particular, whether it's thimerosal or not. But you talked about vaccine as the modality of that. It was the modality. Bobby, what happened to you? What happened to you? Did they get you? Did they scare you? Did they buy you off? Did you figure, what the hell, I'm 70, what the hell, what's my point? That's not the Bobby I knew. That's a defanged Bobby. That's like you get him. Like the best thing you do is the best way to shut your critics up, put them in power. Hey, Dr. Oz, not that he matters. Trump just loves famous people. You know what I mean? He just loves famous people. He doesn't, Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz was good, okay. Remember, he was with Oprah. Dr. Phil, check out that Dr. Phil. That's an interesting story, but I don't want to get off track here. See, the best thing to do is to get somebody. If somebody's really a pain in the ass, come work for me. Then we own you. Work for the feds. Then we own you. Hey, you got something easy to say about geoengineering? Great. Put them in charge. Some people just love that. Do I get to be? Yes, you'll be assistant. Wow. In Washington, you'll have a staff and you'll go to Washington. Ooh, yeah. Where's Marty McCary? They took the best of the best and they put them in. What did they do? They threw them and they basically neutered them. They neutered them. Do you hear what I'm saying? Are you following what I'm saying? I'm very suspicious. I can't help that. I don't believe anybody. I've been lied to my whole life. And when it comes to the government, they always lie to me. They always lie to me. I know they do. And President Trump lies. He doesn't mean to lie, but sometimes we love to, listen, he's the best president of mine. Even his performance, does he not know how to be solemn? No, that's Trump. He was doing a campaign speech. He's making jokes. At least nobody cussed. I'm so sick of that. You have no idea. How people think F-bombs somehow impart. I think they want to be mafiosi. They want to be tough. But what was that all about? Even Don Jr. was bragging about, hey, my father, doing his own father's imitation. Sparky says, wasn't it odd former Olympic decathlete Rayford Johnson found the pistol which supposedly killed RFK in the coat pocket the next day? I did not know that. Wait a minute. Let's check this out. Let's ask our friend, Mr. ChatGPT. Did Rayford Johnson find the pistol or the gun that actually was responsible, allegedly, for killing Senator Robert F. Kennedy? Let's see about this. Rafer? R-A-F-E-R-F-A-R-A-Y-F-E-R. No, Rayford Johnson, the decathlete, did not find the pistol. What he did do was Johnson was one of the men who helped wrestle Sirhan, or Sirhan, as we wrestled him to the ground in the pantry of the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles on June the 5th, 1968, immediately after the shooting. Along with football player Rosie Greer and others, he helped disarm Sirhan, prying the .22 caliber Iver Johnson revolver out of his hand. That revolver was the weapon authorities identified as the gun used. So Johnson didn't find the weapon after the fact. He physically helped take it out of his hand during the chaos. So I don't know what that may be wrong. I don't know about that. I will look into that one. I will find that. Correction, yeah, Olympic decathlete. Yeah. He was also, Rayford Johnson was, so I don't know about that. What's important to know was the number of shots that were fired and the number of shots that were found in this gun. And this one shot that caught him right here. And that had stippling and that had all of the powder deposition from a close contact wound when Sirhan was across the room. By the way, this area right here, this is a very interesting area. Right here. See where your ear is? Right here. See this? Where your mandible connects right there? This is a very, very interesting. Did you ever see those TV shows where they would do these chops? Remember like karate chops? Remember that? There was a movie, it was A Bad Day at Black Rock, when Spencer Tracy had that paralyzed arm and he got into the fight with Ernest Borgnine. Remember that great fight? And Ernest Borgnine is screaming in agony. I'm wondering, what are you screaming about? But this chop here, this is really something. I mean, I'm not a martial arts person, but how people in these fights for their life, they always go for like the face. What are you kidding me? So you break your hand like this. You don't want to do that. Go for someplace else. That's all I'm going to say. This is a very nice area here. This has been, one time I was doing like this just as a was trying to make the point, and I did it to myself a little hard, and for a moment, I thought, ooh, I don't know, I could, anything that interrupts the electrical flow of stuff, I kind of like. But we don't know. But what I'm saying is, folks, you got to understand something. There are people in the world who don't react the way they do. President Trump never figured out who was behind him. They don't have investigations. Jim Jordan, remember big Jim Jordan? Oh, Jim Jordan. Didn't wear his jacket. Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan loved times, dates. Now October the 15th, 2000, and then the 7th, 9th, and then October the 15th, and then June 4th. He knew the times. Nothing ever happened. Rand Paul, speaking very, very, Rand Paul. What did he ever do? Nothing. Nobody's going to find anything out. We're not going to get to the bottom of Charlie's murder or anything like that. There's not going to be any kind of investigation. There's not going to be bones and those gelatin tubes, those rectangular solids where the bullet goes in and you can see it tumble or what. No. They had bones from big livestock and stockyards, big bones, and shoot them. No. We're not going to find out who the conspirators were involving the attempted assassination of President Trump. No. Where have you been? Hey, Sparky, I got news for you. That's not the way it works. It doesn't work like that. Sparky says he said he must have unconsciously put the pistol in his pocket after wrestling Saran to the ground. I saw him interviewed years ago. That's what he said. ChatGPT may be CIA GPT. Could very well be. But in any event, the story is that Bobby Kennedy does not go from town to town saying, listen to me. They killed my father. Wouldn't you do that? Did you ever hear John Kennedy Jr. ever talk about his father being shot? Get the bottom of that? Nope. Did you ever hear Caroline Kennedy? Nope. I have this idea about the Kennedys, and I can't prove it. But I wouldn't be surprised if the following happened. I wouldn't be surprised if when you're in your, I don't know how they don't run out of money, the Kennedys. I mean, my God, how long can that fortune last with 9 million kids? But I imagine that when you turn a certain age and you get your trust fund, which I don't know how much it is, but anyway, they say, now listen, here's your information. Here's what you do. Here's what you get per month. You have direct deposit. By the way, you're going to be somewhere and somebody's going to say, hey, Kennedy, aren't you one of those Kennedy people? Maybe you're the Kennedy or maybe you're who knows? Yeah, well, I'm a cousin. There's so many derivative, lower level, lower tiered Kennedys, but still you're in the group. And somebody said, yeah, I remember that. Boy, that was a terrible day when your uncle or great uncle or whatever it was died. Do you have any theories as to who did it? And you're going to be asked this question. And you're going to say, no, that's above my pay grade, or no, that's another story. Okay. Because or you might meet some chickie, some girl who wants to make time with you. And you're going to say, you know what, I know. And you might on your own, by the way, find that you might want to just break away and be that lone Kennedy who finds out what happened. Well, I'm here to tell you, don't do that. That is not a wise thing to do. And it's not something that I would recommend that you do. Some things are better left unsaid, and some things are better left just ignored. So don't do anything stupid. I know you don't mean any harm. I know you're not trying to do this, but please, I beg you, don't do this. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything reckless. Okay? Don't do this. I know you might want to. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. Sean Lennon and other people, you don't talk. You just don't. MK Ultra. But by the way, I know you love MK Ultra. If anybody told me that MK Ultra really was applied, I would think it would be in the case of John Lennon and the case of Bobby Kennedy, only by virtue of the fact that when these two assassins were found, they didn't know anything. Okay? So anyway, think about that one. Also, my friends, I think I told you this before, and this is very, very critical. I can't say this enough. And I'm just going to say it one more time, and you do whatever you think is right. While you have the time, while everything seems to be okay, I want you to go to preparedwithlionel.com. Take your time. Don't just look, but use preparedwithlionel.com. That's the one. Don't go to the main one, because if you want to support the show, support us, you go to preparedwithlionel.com and look and see what they have. And you will be absolutely shocked at the genius behind these people. They've thought of every single thing you can believe. Now, let me thank you for that. Let me also say, Sparky, you have been so generous and so magniloquent tonight. I thank you. Andrew Hessing, thank you. Johnny Wolf, thank you, Johnny. Thank you for this. Sal Angelo, what can I say, brother Sal? Sal called my radio show the other night. Sal, I hope you do it again. Sal, you're a good man, and I appreciate it. Stephen Lynch, thank you, dear sir. And thank, let me see. That's it. Oh. One more thing I'm going to tell you about, which I think is important. I think it is critical. Hang on a minute. Cut Up says, MK was announced in a soft confession on Days of Our Lives. 1980 time frame. MK Ultra or Martin King or anyway, I did not know that. But thank you for that. Thank you as well. Very, very important. Sal Angelo says, love you, Lionel. Sal, you're a mensch. I thank you. I try, by the way, when I do my radio show to not scare people. I want them to kind of weigh them in. And I talked the other night. It was so funny, to a retired NYPD inspector, detective, something, and he was saying, "Now there you go with these crazy conspiracy theories. Don't you know that the gun came from?" And he basically read everything that was in the newspaper, everything that was alleged in the newspaper. He mentioned everything, as though that's it. And I said, "You're a detective? You're a detective? Or were?" I just want you to understand this. You're a detective? Wow. I don't know. This is the most important thing in the world for me to explain to you. And I absolutely, positively, 100% will tell you this. It's very, very important. I am not somebody who lives to pursue these things called I'm not one who goes out and looks for a conspiracy theory. Now, conspiracy theory, what people do is, what they normally do is, they like to always portray this as a story of some type of clandestine a group of people who are some deep, dark, deadly background, whatever. You know what I'm saying? No. That's not my default. I don't do this as a default mechanism. But I don't rule it out. The first rule about everything, remember, whatever the crime is, you must understand there has to be something there has to be something which is very, very critical. That the first rule of any kind of crime is getting away. Understand this? Getting away. Just 1 second, I have to text Mrs. L something. Excuse me. You know, I think you'll appreciate my wife. Okay. The first rule is deception, getting away. Bottom line, whatever your crime is, I can't get caught. So I'm going to blame somebody. I'm going to hide it. I'm going to do a variety of things. I'm going to do everything in my power to blame somebody, to hide somebody. I'm just going to do everything in my power. I have to do it. You also have to understand that with deception comes the idea that you are going to be, we have, the shadow government have for the longest time created this image, this idea that you are crazy. And I've called you a conspiracy theorist so much, and I have ingrained this idea in the part of people so much and for so long. I've made it almost like a patellar obeisance, a patellar reflex, a patellar reaction. This Pavlovian obeisance, so that whenever you get too close, I go, oh, there you go again. And some people really stay away from it. So that's one thing I do. Number two, I do sort of things in the open, so that you will say to yourself, you will ask yourself, why is it that this happened? You're going to say, do you think these people would have done this in the open? Do you think they would have risked their life? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They do it right in the open. When you're an assassin, that's what you do. And they want to do it in a way. Let me just say, I'm frozen. I am frozen here. Let me see if that's, let me close this down. That might help here. Okay. They do things in a way that they kind of see. Sometimes assassins, they want you to do it. Put it this way. Listen to me carefully. And I want you to listen to me carefully. Okay? I think I've said that twice now. If I wanted to take Charlie Kirk out, just eliminate him in the easiest, simplest, most, just the most effective. How would I have done it? Let me tell you what I would have done. I would have made sure, deep down inside, that one thing that I do not do is I don't do anything in front of a bunch of people. I wanted to be, I will scout him out. He is not that, clandestine. He goes places. Believe me, it could be a lot easier than to put somebody there. Somebody had to be close to him. Somebody had to be close enough where they could hear a gun go off, and it's very, very dangerous and not a good idea. And I would be very, very careful if I were these. I really would have thought to myself, this is not good. So what I wanted to tell you is that they wanted to do this like that. Let me explain this to you. I do not believe. I'm sorry, but, I'm not immediately, it could be that this Tyler Robinson could be, in fact, the lone assassin, could very well be. And in terms of possibility, absolutely. But it's not sticking with me because of the other things, the notes and everything else. But if you really wanted to get rid of him, all of a sudden They ambush a car. Somebody pulls up to them, a guy in a motorcycle, like they do in Europe. Stephen Lynch says Charlie's security may have been compromised. Well, yeah, I wouldn't go. I mean, they were very, very close, very, very loyal. But thank you for that. I could have also been in a motorcycle following him somewhere. They do this in the mob, the real Indrageta and the Gamora and all these other. They do that. It's old. It's simple. Quick getaway. Blast, automatic weapon. You're off. Turn a corner. Ditch that. There's a car waiting. You're gone. You are history. You are into the breeze. And there may be a ring camera here and there, but you're gone and you are through. And before you know it, and everybody goes in a different direction and see you later. Maybe you don't even know each other. You don't need me to tell you this. Maybe with the president, you have to do that, but not with Charlie Kirk. You didn't need to do it that way. It leads me to believe this is one of them. They wanted it to be a grand finale. Do you hear what I'm saying? Listen carefully. Now, again, we're just sitting here. I'm here in New York. You're where you are, and that's it. So I'm just saying stuff. I don't know. But if I were going to do it, if you say, do you want me to get rid of him? Just like with Epstein. Epstein said, oh, I'll take care of him. Oh, yeah, you'll never know him. He'll just, one day he's done, show up. Nobody even knew who he was. Imagine opening up the paper one day and this says, remember that guy Epstein? Who was that? You know, that financier? Who was that guy? I don't know. Remember him? Oh, yeah. Right. Well, he's been missing. Is that right? I'll be a son of a bitch. Anywho, move. Nobody cares. They wanted it to be done. They could have done it before they waited until they got to Teterboro Airport. And they arrested him. He's in federal custody. That was to send a message to show you, look what we can do. Mossad did it. They said it a bunch of times when they went after the Black September. Those guys, they wanted it to be done in the open. There was one fellow, they went into his house and they took perfect measurements of this table where they took this marble top off and they made it exactly the same. Then there was the mechanic where they took his phone. They got a relative, they got his phone and they put it in the actual phone. They called him, hello, goodbye, bang. They wanted this, the pagers and all this stuff. It's really something very theatrical to teach you a lesson, to let you know you cannot get away from us. We are always there. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? So what I'm telling you right now is simply this. Listen to me and listen carefully. Don't go there. Remember the old expression, when you hear footsteps, don't think zebra or hoof prints, hoof beats, hoof sounds. What am I trying to say? Don't think zebra. Put things into perspective. Not Occam's razor. Don't say that. That's not true. That's the wrong way. But think that way. And also make sure that you don't jump to this. That's all. So we'll leave it at that. You have been a delightful crowd. Haven't you? Don't you love this? Haven't you had fun tonight? Now, if you're around tonight, this eve, I'm going to be doing one more at 11:30. Kind of like I want to pick up where I left off. Because it's a weird schedule. And we get a lot of our friends who are from the West Coast or people who are maybe in other parts of the world. It's a good group. It really is. So that's tonight right here. Make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation, okay? Lionel Nation, make sure you're subscribed. And my friends, to Stephen, again, to Sal, Angelo, and all our friends, I thank you again. Thank you so much. Cut up, thank you, dear heart. Thank you all. You are splendiferous, okay? All right, my friends. So in any event, we will see you later. Have a great and a glorious day. Little hand farts for everybody. That's for who has to go it. Yes, sir. That's for all of you. I love you. You are so beautiful to me. Can't you see? You are so beautiful to me. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious evening. Don't forget these final words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da, da. Da, da.